Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video I have my pits and peaks because it's Sunday. If you are not familiar with this style of video on my channel, I talk about things that didn't go so well for the week being my pits for the week, and things that went better this week being my peaks for the week. Pure spoiler for the rest of the video, I've had a really good week. Don't have too many pits to really talk about, and I'm not really too bothered about the pits either. I'm just more impressed with myself with the peaks this week. So yeah, we'll get into the pits first so we can end on a high with the peaks. And my first pit this week is been that I haven't done any gym sessions, no strength training. It hasn't been a focus this week. My focus has been on trying to get my training runs done and to focus and knuckle down on my nutrition. So the gym sort of just is in the back. If I manage to do one, then I'm happy with that, but I'm not really too bothered if I don't do them either. So yeah, that is one very small pit for the week. I'm not really too fussed about it. The second pit for this week has been that, if you are not familiar, I've mentioned this a couple of times in some of my videos, but I got really bad blisters on the bottom of my feet at on Christmas Day, where I'd walked in a pair of boots that I hadn't done any sort of long distance in, and we walked 2 miles to the pub and then 2 miles back, and had quite bad blood blisters on the balls of my feet. And they have still not healed. While they're not sort of filled up like a typical blister, they are still a little bit there. And the one on my right foot is about the size of a 50p piece, and I've done quite a lot of time on my feet today. I've done my 4-mile run, so I guess you can have another spoiler in that. I've done my 4-mile run for today, and I also walked 4 miles to and from town, so I've done 8 miles on my feet today, and that blister on my right foot is hurting today, and it's uncomfortable to walk on, so I'm having to sort of take the pressure off that. I'm hoping that by taking the pressure off I'm not sort of giving myself another blister. Hopefully that won't happen, but yeah, I just didn't expect the healing time on it to be so long, but I guess it's just going to take time. I'm just hoping that I'm not prolonging the sort of healing on it by all the training that I'm doing and things like that. So we'll just have to see how it goes. If not, I might have to consult my doctor and see whether it needs draining or something like that, because obviously you're advised not to drain any blisters really, because you've obviously risked the chance of infection, and with it being on the bottom of my feet and things like that, if I'm like walking around the house by bare feet and whatever, yeah, I could risk infection, so I don't really want to burst it or anything. So I guess I'll just have to see how it goes, and if it still isn't healed in another couple of weeks, I might ask a doctor about it. But yeah, that is my second and final pit for this week. So we'll get on to the peaks. As I mentioned, I've had a really good week this week. I'm going to pop my 7-day NutriCheck view here so you can see it, because obviously I'm going to talk about it. So you will see that I have ticks on every single day this week, and if I go back to Sunday I had another tick there as well, so technically I've had 8 days on track and under my calories. And that is massive for me given the previous week. I will show my previous week's 7-day view if you haven't seen it, if you didn't watch last week's video, but I was quite significantly over my calories, and I have struggled for like the last, I'd say the whole of January. I've really struggled with my nutrition and getting back on track and things like that. I've had a lot of X's in my NutriCheck. I'll hopefully be scrolling through all the weeks so you can see a sort of comparison. But yeah, I have really nailed it this week, and I do feel like I've finally got myself back on track. So you may be asking how I did that. I basically stripped back to basics, and I sort of tracked all of my main meals right at the beginning of the day, which is what I was doing initially. I was putting all my sort of main meals in there. So I have started doing that again, so every day me and Philip sort of sit there in the morning and discuss what we're going to have for dinner. My lunches and breakfasts are separate from him because obviously he's at work, but in the evening we eat together, so we like to discuss what we're going to eat that evening, and then I can plan the rest of my like breakfast and lunch and snacks around that main meal. So I've been doing that this week, on top of just really listening to my body when it comes to my hunger. I think The times over the last couple of weeks where I've been over on my calories, I haven't really been listening to my hunger levels, and I've maybe been letting my mood and boredom and things like that overtake, if you will, and my snacking has been really bad. So I really stripped it back, and although I wouldn't say it's a good thing to do, I have been pushing back my eating as much as I can, so that I am actually hungry when it comes to eating. So rather than me, I think I've mentioned it before about not eating to a schedule. So I was doing it before where I was starting work at 8, so I would have my breakfast a few, like 10-15 minutes before I started work, and then my lunch was bang on 12 o'clock, and our dinner was like 5-6 o'clock. So I had sort of set times where I was eating, and I want to sort of snap out of that habit, which I have done this week. So instead of just eating at times where it's convenient to eat, I have been pushing it like as much as I can to not eat until I'm actually hungry. Like when my stomach starts rumbling, then I know I'm like properly hungry. So I haven't really been having breakfast this week. I've sort of been pushing my food until lunchtime. So I guess effectively it's almost intermittent fasting, but I'm not obviously doing intermittent fasting because I am drinking tea in that sort of window. Whereas if you were doing intermittent fasting, which I've done in the past, you only sort of drink black coffee and black tea and green tea and things like that, so you don't have any milk and things. So obviously I have been having my cups of tea, but I just haven't been having any food up until lunchtime, which has been working out for me quite well because I've actually discovered that I don't actually need to sort of eat when I've been eating, and it's sort of been a bit of a revelation. So yeah, I have been pushing it until obviously I'm hungry. So usually that's around 12 o'clock when I have my lunch. So for, I would say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, let me just check whether I've got this correct before I say anything else. Right, yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday I didn't have any breakfast. I basically waited until lunch because I wasn't hungry up until that point. So the calories that I would have had for breakfast I then sort of had left over, and obviously I was still snacking, but because I hadn't had breakfast I had leftover calories. So as you will see in my 7-day NutriCheck view, on those 4 days I've got like a couple hundred calories left, which is what I would have usually had for breakfast and things. I'm not too bothered about it. I didn't sort of have the intention to eat those calories later on in the week. Just if I'm not feeling hungry, I'm not going to eat, and I'm not going to sort of force myself to have extra calories just because that's what's allotted to me. So if I'm under, then I'm under. I'm not really too bothered about it. And if I'm not strength training and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter too much whether I get all those calories in. But I don't want to make too much of a habit about not eating breakfast, and I'm not actively avoiding breakfast either. So Friday, Saturday and Sunday I did eat in the sort of morning period where breakfast was. For example, on Friday I took Philip to a halfway point to work because obviously he's got a broken hand at the moment, so he can't drive himself. So on Friday I was up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to take him to the halfway point for a colleague to come and pick him up. And I was really hungry when I got back from that, and it was way earlier than I would ever eat breakfast. I think it was like 6, half 6. And I just had a bit of toast just because I was actually hungry. I physically felt hungry. And then Saturday, I don't think I had breakfast yesterday, but today I did. We went out early and we had a cinnamon bun and a coffee from a new coffee shop in town. So yeah, I'm just sort of listening to my body and what it actually needs at the time rather than just sort of mindlessly eating. So that's been working really well for me this week. And then my next peak, because I've gone on a bit too long now, I've sort of almost gone over the whole week. My second peak for this week has been that I've done all of my training runs. So the 3 runs that I had for my training I have done this week. I did a 4-mile run today. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because I do my training diary tomorrow, but yeah, I have done my 4-mile run. I'm really pleased with that. So yeah, I guess that's both of my peaks done, and they way outweigh the pits. I was sort of thinking about the last time that I've had a successful week like this, and it was probably back in August when I had my sort of meltdown on my channel. So yeah, I'm really proud of how things have gone this week. Hopefully that will continue into next week, and I've sort of built some habits and sort of noticed behaviours and things like that which I will continue on. Obviously I have my check-in on Tuesday as well, so hopefully, I mean, all I'm hoping at the moment is that I maintain my measurements, just because I've had such a shit show the first 3 weeks of January. I'm just hoping that I'm able to rein something back this week. Obviously I don't want to make that a habit for the rest of the year ahead, but yeah, I'm happy with how things have gone this week. So hopefully I will have managed to sort of rein things back when it comes to my check-in on Tuesday, but I'm really happy with how things have gone, and like I said, hopefully those habits continue for next week. I'll just continue to do the same thing, just listening to my hunger levels and don't eat when I'm not hungry. So yeah, that is basically it for this week. Ideally going into next week, obviously I'll be doing my 3 training runs, but it would be nice to be able to fit in at least 2 gym sessions if I can. I don't want to sort of let that fall by the wayside and not work out for ages again. I do want to sort of get back into that, but it's just fitting it in with everything else, and with running and nutrition being a focus, it doesn't come into play as much. So I am going to try and at least get 2 in this week, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm going to end the video here. I do need to film my training diary for tomorrow as well, so I'm going to do that. But yeah, I'm going to end the video here. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You can always click the notification bell down below and you'll be notified of when my videos go live. Other than that, I hope you're all staying safe and well. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend, whenever it is that you're watching this, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.